Nicola, we operate a portfolio of brands on Tmall and JD. One of our new brands that we're launching it's not from the UK, but it is an organic baby product line, and it is in high demand by Alibaba. So they are very serious on this category, and even if you're not fully activated right now, they will actually do a lot of the investment in activating your brand in the market. So that's one thing, to focus that way. It's high likelihood you'll be accepted application. The second is British brands still the case. Yes, I can say that for sure. I spoke in London at Retail Without Borders a few months ago, met a bunch of brands. There is a high demand for British products. The thing that British brands have to do is stay in their niche. So the brand equity has to be there. The time in the market, the reputation is the one thing that the Chinese factories can't copy, is your name and your time and the reputation and feelings you give consumers.
The brand story.
The real story, right?
Exactly.
So everything else can be made in China. And so a lot of companies, multi-brand retailers that have come to China or multi-category have failed because they tried to do the lazy, this is what we sell, this is what British people want, and just roll it out in China. And they keep failing because the marketplace rewards individual brands, right? It's a vertical type market, and you can be a category leader in a category by having the right brands at the right level of activation. The strength can carry you to the top. So British is an A+, organic is better. Time on the market and brand equity with Chinese consumers is your #1 priority. And if you aren't activating in places like London with all the Chinese that visit and consume, it's the #1 priority. I would say.
I've always said I do better product out of China. So I never compete with the mass, and I never compete with low quality item. You always go for quality, and if you have that niche, and by saying that organic and recyclable or whatsoever, you have a place here. There's still a big demand for quality product.
I agree 100%. I think Chinese consumers, if we're talking mom and baby.
They're very educated right now.
Oh, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. So Chinese consumers are self-trained experts. They know more about everything they're buying than any other consumer on the planet.
Exactly.
Because there's a low level of trust here, so they just go way and beyond. We're about to launch a infant formula brand, which is organic from France. And it's going to go live in 6 months. And to give you an idea, it was originally going to launch this year, and it's now been postponed almost 12 months in terms of the official launch, because the client was so sure they could just launch Tmall and make hay, right? And this is not how it works. And we went and looked at the consumer journey and went back in time, and there are no less than 11 touch points before the moms get in, and they start on average literally like 6 months before they get pregnant to decide on what infant formula. This is before they're pregnant.
Exactly.
So you have to estimate that your consumer needs to be educated and exposed very early, especially with mom and baby products.
Yeah.
You would agree, right? They are experts in everything.
And it's a huge market.
Yeah, it's massive.